in mind. The Buddha, after the Buddha Shakyamuni, there were 7 heirs. There were 7 heirs in sequence. 7 heirs. The first one is Mahakashyap. Mahakashyap was the first heir, and the second heir was next to Mahakashyap was Ananda. Ananda. Okay, so 7 heirs, and the Mahakashyap was highly respected, even at the time of the Buddha Shakyamuni. Okay, so now what is said here is that, and who would consider unacceptable? So some teachings that we find in the Mahayana Sutras, who would consider unacceptable some speech referring to those teachings that we find in the Mahayana Sutra, the depths of which even Mahakashyap and the like could not fathom. Right? Okay, simply because you cannot understand it. Okay, you referring to those people who do not believe in Mahayana Sutras, so you cannot understand what is said in Mahayana the Sutras, so therefore you reject them. This should not be the approach. There are many concepts which even the highly respected Mahakashyap, he cannot fathom. Okay, like what? This is very important. Okay, this, I think that if we get something of what I'm going to share with you here, then the purpose of this whole text is going to be summarized, right? Not only this text, in fact, the tradition of Vinaya meaning the precepts observed by the monastics, tradition followed by the Bodhisattvas, tradition followed by the Tantras, right? Okay, so let us start from a very clean slate. Let us start from a very clean slate. Now, let us not say that, oh, I'm a Buddhist, I really admire the Buddha's teachings, oh, this is amazing, right? We have to do this, we have to do that. No, let us not start from that. Let us start from a very clean slate. Imagine that you have no clue of, you have no clue of any philosophy, any Asian philosophy, let's say, Indian philosophy. You have no clue of that. And you are born in a family where the parents are all very, the agnostics who don't believe in any kind of concept, not rejecting, right, but not believing in anything. You're more with the scientific temperament. You're born with the scientific temperament. And suddenly you end up in a place, people discussing about such things. And okay, let's say that you're going through a little bit of depression for some reasons, right? For some reasons, whatever reasons. Okay. And then you go to a psychiatrist, and psychiatrist gives you some medicines, and the medicines, it makes you so dull, right? And then you want to remember what you ate this morning, even then you cannot remember because of the heavy medication, right? And you feel so sleepy, and then you think that, okay, now this is not approach, this medicine is not approach, right? And then you ask the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist, I'm sorry, this is the only way. We numb you, right? We numb you, everything, the good, bad, everything. So at least you don't have the stress. Okay, then you say, okay, this is not what I'm looking for. I want to retain the vigor. I want to retain the freshness of myself, and at the same time delete the depression and so forth. So where should I go to? Okay, then you go to psychologist, and finally because you have a very scientific temperament, then the point is what? Then you are told that, okay, say unhappiness, happiness, whatever. So it is whether it's of course it is 99% of our thinking, if not, of course, not 100%. 99% of our thinking, ordinary people's thinking, in Tibetan we call it soke. Soke means the ordinary beings who do not have the direct realization of emptiness like us. Oh, no, not you. Maybe some of you may be exception, right? Okay, some of you may have direct realization. I don't know. Okay, so most of us, for for whom this teaching is required. The Acharya Chandrakirti, this teaching is required, right? Say, these people are known as the Susukibu or Surtong. Surtong means people who can see only the sight, not the far, right? The sight meaning objective existence, not the emptiness of objective existence. Okay, in other words, people who do not see emptiness directly. Those people, 99% of our thinking, I would say that they are related to the brain. Okay, this is not said in the text. It is vaguely said by Bodhisattva, Acharya Dharmakirti, vaguely said there that how the physical and how the mind, these two are very closely connected. By dependence on the damage to the physical, the mind can be affected. By damage to the mind, the brain can the physical can be affected. He did not specify the word brain, but he is actually referring to the brain and the mind. Okay. Now with this, what I like to say is that almost like 99% of our thinking, somehow they are dependent on the brain. And there's mutuality of dependence, of course. Mutuality of dependence, but you're very closely dependent. Okay, which means that the synaptic connections, neurotransmitters, all these things make such a difference to our thinking. One, this is what is happening. Psychologists, for example, the Western psychologists or psychotherapists, don't really deal with this is the problem with the transmitter problem, so we have to enhance this part of the transmitter. No, they will simply tackle the mind. Tackle mind meaning they will talk to you. They'll talk to you, and the person will see how your thinking is. There's one thinking thing, and purely on that basis, people can treat you so well. Right? Okay, let's say that you come to such a situation. Now, from your side, you should imagine you are pretty smart, intelligent, which means that you can understand things pretty well and sharply. And then, yet your thinking is, you have a very clean slate. You start from a clean slate. Okay, let's say that I hear the sound, the traffic sound, and it gives rise to, say, the anxiety within me. Okay, so anxiety, and this anxiety is what? The turbulent state of my mind, mental turbulence. Okay, tell me, why are we discussing all these things? Anyone? Why? Why? Anyone else? Okay, you're too absorbed. I really appreciate that you're too absorbed in what I'm saying. Wonderful, amazing, congratulations. The point is that we're discussing how there are things which even Mahakashyap cannot fathom. You're getting it? So what are those areas? This is what we're exploring. You're getting it? Okay. So the Mahakashyap is not to look for how the atoms work, or how the dam is to be created, or how the skyscraper is to be created, or how to bring the nanotechnology. This is not the idea. For him, it is how to give rise to liberation, freedom from suffering, how to change your mind, how to change your thinking. So this is his work. So there, within that area, there are so many areas which even Mahakashyap, the first heir to Buddha Shakyamuni, could not fathom the depth of such an exploration. Let's say. So this is purely aware in a theory classroom, not in the laboratory. Don't forget it, right? On the theory classroom. Okay, we have to know this theory. Even to know this theory is so precious, and then we have to create the proper atmosphere, environment, and then see how to go into the laboratory. You're getting it? Okay, first the theory part is that finally we see that this anxiety, depression. This is a mental state. Whatever is happening in the brain, it doesn't matter. Don't deny this. There is a correspondence there. There's a correlate there. There's a brain correlate. Neural correlate is there. Okay, let us not deny that. It is there, no doubt. But what is really accessible to you, what you have access of, is that I'm feeling disturbed. This is what you know. And you don't want that. So that is known as the mental agitation, mental turbulence, anxiety, stress, tension, mental. Okay, so when you are a little stressed because of this sound, let's say because of this sound. Now, let's say that, and then there was one person who always provokes you for no reason. And there's another person who is so kind, with a very profound understanding, always there, very skillfully, and deep inside the thought is to help you. And very skilled and very sensible, understanding. Okay, there are two people. The morning, the one who provokes you comes. And you're already very agitated and anxietic because of this sound. Okay, so what is the state of your mind when this person visits you? It becomes worse, or it calms down? It becomes worse. Yet the person did not do anything, did not tell you anything. Right? So particularly you and that person, in between there's a glass. What is that? Double glazed glass, where you cannot even hear the sound of what the other person is saying, right? And yet you're already disturbed. It becomes even more agitated. More agitation arises, right? Okay. In fact, how many of you have that experience? Tell me. Okay, how many of you don't have that experience? What about those who did not raise their hands? In both cases, so, sometimes little. Okay, in fact, I had that experience. I had the experience when I finished my class 12. Class 12, I'm going through a very difficult phase of my life, right? And then when I see somebody, generally speaking, little, say, what I call it, not wholesome, for no reason, my agitation simply picks up. It becomes even worse. So that was what I noticed when I was aged like 20, 19 or 20. Okay, so now, and then it becomes so unbearable. This agitation so unbearable. Then afternoon, that very sensible, kind, very supportive person comes. What happens to agitation? It quells, and the person is not talking to you. You are not hearing what the person is saying. There's no sound exchange. Still, it calms down. You're getting it? Okay. Which of the two situations you want? Which is the therapy for you? The first one or second one? Second one is the therapy. You're getting it? Therapy means a treatment. It helps you. It heals you. Okay. Tell me, in what way it helps? See, in what way it heals you? In what way? Because you have the perception of the very kind-hearted person, warm-hearted person passing by, and what you have is just the perception. That's it. You have just the perception of that person, and then it heals you. And the perception of the first person, it aggravated your problem. You're getting it? So the perception plays a very important role. Perception what? Perception of the object. Okay, now we see that there's an interplay of the object and the subject. Interplay of the object and the subject. You're getting it? Interplay of the object and the subject. Now, if you really want to treat this experience, we have to think of doing something with the object or with the subject or both. This is the treatment. From what we realize is that this gets activated when you meet the first person, the perception of the first person, it gets calmed down when you have the perception of the second person. Right? So there's an interplay. This interplay, in the process of the interplay between the object and the subject, then the agitation subsides, agitation gets activated. Okay, now the question is, let's say, one, when that happens, and if there is an open space from here, the first person comes, what will you do? In most cases, what will you do? You'll run away. You'll run away. You're getting it? So one way of avoiding this perception is to run away. Right? If there's no place to run away, then you put a paper on this so that the perception doesn't happen. You're getting it? In a way, you are running away. Whether you literally run away or not, the point is that you separate yourself, you create a wall between you and the object. You're getting it? You create a wall. Okay. So you create a fencing. You create a fence between object and subject so that the subject is not aggravated. In the process, the subject heals. Time heals. You're getting it? Because it's not being aggravated, so the subject is getting healed. One. Okay. So what is the one way to heal the mind? Run away from the object. You're getting it? Okay. One. Then number two. Number two is that, say, now, okay, tell me, for this running away, to know that, okay, my problem subsides when I don't have the perception of that particular the object. So for that, how extensive a learning is required? Not so much, right? Not so much. Usually, for the children, when the parents advise, okay, don't go with bad people, don't go with bad children, bad companies. When the parents give this advice, it does not require any extensive. Okay, when the moment the child, who is a very obedient or very sensible child, sees another boy or girl who is a little naughty, will run away, right? This is what the child learns from the parents. So this is exactly the same. One. Okay. Then number two, say, don't run away from the object, right? Try to change the perspective of the object. Keep the object as it is, but the perception is what? Perception is the act between the object and the subject. What the object is, 100% it may not be perceived by the subject. Just if you can change the perception without running. For example, if the flower of it it's a nice thing, right? Then, okay, instead of running, try to see to the impermanence of this, right? Don't run away from the object. See the impermanence of this object. Impermanence, yes, it's good, but in 5 minutes, in 5 days, it will droop, right? Okay, but I will live longer than 5 days, right? And then where should I dump this? It becomes a garbage. You just think more extensive in time, right? Say the longer duration time, keeping in consideration the greater framework of time, the framework of a greater time, greater length of time, then impermanence. So that helps us. Okay, overall speaking, there's nothing really there. Okay, one, but the object is there, right? Number two. Okay, number three. Okay, this flower, and what is the orchid flower? Let's say a very beautiful orchid flower. You compare the two things, but this is nothing. Orchid flower is so beautiful, right? So with the comparison, another one would be comparison that we were talking about. The mind, the path with the aspect of gross and the peacefulness, right? So one is gross, one is subtle. Comparison. So the comparison, even if you feel that this is so good, this is so nice, And then you say deliberately do the comparison practice. Okay, this orchid, a very fresh orchid, very expensive orchid flower. So this is so beautiful. You look at the flower, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Then slowly you see that which is so appealing is now no more appealing. It's not only no more appealing, it's garbage now. The same object, right? Perception changes. Okay, number 3, right? This is number 3. So by means of comparison. Okay. Now the next one would be saying, okay, this object in the dream, let's say the orchid flower in the dream. Oh, this orchid flower, I've been doing the comparison with the orchid flower and the rose flower. Orchid flower is so beautiful. Now I got orchid flower. It's so good, so good, so good. And you wake up. What's so good? This is my dream. Right? So even that is nothing really there. It's all coming from my subject. You're getting it? So that way, again, say the turbulence of the mind, excitation of the mind stops because of seeing that is all coming from our mind. Now what is coming from our mind? Again, there are various levels. That this is empty of autonomous substantial reality. This is empty of external reality. This is empty of true existence while not negating the objective existence. And finally, this is purely coming from the subject, nothing really from coming from the subject, nothing from the object. Purely subjective, right? Total empty of inherent existence. Then it is, right, okay, then what's really there? In the first place, object per se is not really there. Besides my mind creating it, there's nothing really there. It's so powerful. Okay. So, these say, thus far, we discuss these various ways to control the emotion. First, starting from running away from the object. Then, with running away, then what happens? Again, you may meet later on. It's quite dangerous. Running away. So then, while running away, what happens is that you are giving yourself space. You run away from the crowd so that you'll get time for you to heal. In the process, then you think about not running away, but changing the perception. That instead of this is being the permanent is impermanent. Then instead of this being 100% beautiful, as compared to the orchid, this is not as beautiful, right? So like this, and then seeing the emptiness on the various levels. Okay, this is one way. So this is, we're tackling what? We're tackling the object. We're tackling the object, either running from the object or changing the perception of the object, right? Okay, this is one thing. Number two. Now, tackling the subject. Finally, what is disturbed? Object disturbs or the subject is disturbed? Subject is disturbed. Now tackling the subject rather than the object, right? Keep the object as it is. As it is, and now tackling the subject. How to tackle the subject? Turbulence. What is the opposite of turbulence? What is the opposite of turbulence? Calm, peace. Okay, now what happens is the lack of turbulence or free of turbulence. Okay, so turbulence means the mind does not sit on one place. The mind does not sit at one place, it alters, right? Okay, now you do a single pointed meditation, breathing meditation, just focus on the breath. Like this, right? Then the mind learns how to sit still, right? Sit still means the mind is not wavering. You're getting it? The mind is not wavering. It learns how to sit still. And then if you just sit like this, just focus on the breath, focus on the tiny dot, or focus on the Buddha image, whatever object that you choose, you're able to sit it for like 5 minutes without disturbance, without excitement, without metal scattering, without laxity for 5 minutes. Okay, then another person is there who's been more successful, who's been able to sit with this without distraction for 1 hour. And still there is another person who is able to remain in this state for 4 hours in stretch, without being distracted, without laxity. And whereas in your case, 5 minutes and then distracted. Okay, tell me, of the 3 people, when the same object is brought in front of the person, whose mind can easily be is more prone to say excitation? First one, second one, third one. First one. So why not the third one? Because the third one did not learn how to control the object, how to modify the object, how to change the perception of the object, how to run away from the object. No. The third person learned how to still the mind, and very successful of stilling the mind. You're getting it? The purpose is what? It's not that the object is there, you should, this is not, I should not be, this will attack, this will make me will pull me to, drag me to samsara. No, this is not the point. The point is that your mind loses control. Your mind loses control. Now, so one way of gaining the control is by changing the perception of the object, or to do something with the object. Whether you change the object or whether you run away from the object is one. So number 2 is by tackling the subject. Tackle the subject. Just by doing this meditation, there is a tendency that your mind will gain the momentum. You will gain the inertia to retain this stability. Right? So even if the external objects are there to distract you, but your mind, because you are so well trained to remain calm, so it can be successful in what? In retaining the stability. Good. Okay. Let's say this meditation you have been doing with what? The breath, Buddha image, and the thought. But coming out of this, you meet with another object, not the breath, not the Buddha image, with another object. With the other object, the tendency is still there within us. Is there within us? Tendency what? For the mind to be excited. So now you say there are 2 things. There is a form of dilemma there. One, you have trained the mind overall to retain the stability. On the other hand, the tendency with this object, that is not undermined. Tendency with the breath, tendency with the Buddha image and so forth, that is under control. That you succeeded. But not with these objects. Okay. So therefore, now the point is that still but somebody who has trained to control the mind in the stability, right? Stability, and somebody who is not trained at all into stability, which of the 2 persons, there's a greater tendency for the person, which of the 2 to have the excitation more quickly without the training, right? Okay, so there we see that there's a benefit of how the people with the training of the single point meditation can help. But even if you're trained, for example, say there was a saint by the name Udrika. I'm not too sure whether it's the same teacher, is the same saint who was the second teacher of Buddha Shakyamuni, or someone else, I'm not too sure. It said that he was in this single point of meditation for so many years in single point of meditation, not eating anything, not coming out of this meditation, right? And then later on, because of the rat, and then what happens in this meditation for so many years means your hairs are bound to grow. And then, because the hairs are not taken care of, and the dust and the rats, they started to make nest there in the hair. And then he come out of the meditation and he realized that the rats, they have taken shelter in his hair, he becomes so angry. So this anger simply made his samadhi decline, right? Okay, so why? The tendency for this rat, he did not meditate on the rat forming the nest on his hair. So the tendency. Okay, but this one way of controlling the emotions. One. Okay, now let's say that okay, tea break? Oh, you want to listen? Okay, today what happened, even the bachelor is not sending me the big piece of paper. Okay, I'm joking. Okay, even the bachelor question are both so absorbed. Okay, so now the point is now whether or not there's a way by which you don't run away from the object, you don't change the perception, right? You don't look at the competitive thing. You appreciate, wow, it's beautiful, wow, keep it like this, right? Say, don't run away from the object, one. Don't run away from the object, one. Then number two, don't change it, don't think about impermanence, right? Number three, no comparison required. Just appreciate it, and still you can retain the stability of the mind, whether or not this is possible. You getting it? Right? This is so important. Okay, where are we in the theory or the practice, by the laboratory? Theory, right? Don't think that, wow, amazing, this is what I'm looking for. Right? I'm fed up with the impermanence. Right? I'm fed up with running away from good things, going to Himalaya, right? So what, no, this is amazing. Today's class, this is amazing. Okay, no, we are in theory, not in the laboratory. You getting it? Okay, now, as we progress from the first to what I'm talking now, it becomes more and more challenging and more enticing. Keep this in mind. More and more alluring, more and more enticing, yet, practically speaking, more and more difficult. More and more people are going to be deceived by this, fall into deception, right? Okay. Now, whether or not there's a possibility where you don't run away from the object, meet with the object, face the object, and don't look at the impermanence nature of this object, right? And don't do any comparison, and no need even to see the emptiness of this. Still, you can have the control. Is it possible? This is the next question. So this method was what was not taught by the Buddha for the public. Because of this is something which even Mahakashyap could not fathom. Right? Say for example, you cannot imagine Mahakashyap being in a very beautiful garden, like this, exotic food, exotic environment, whatever. Impossible. We cannot think of, right? Okay. So the point is whether or not that is possible. This next question. Whether or not this is possible. Okay. Now, say the object, right? Say, when you say object fluctuates, or your mind fluctuates, alters, fluctuates, turbulence is there. What do you mean by turbulence? The mind is not evenly there, right? Mind is not evenly there. It is not stable. It is not stable means it is wavering. It is wavering. Okay, and this wavering has a tendency to run from the bad things towards the good things. Okay, what if every atom of the universe is divine? Every atom of the universe is, if everything is divine meaning if everything is what you see as perfect, right? So your mind will be very evenly distributed. There's no fluctuation. You're getting it? Okay, these concepts are not what you find in the sutras available in Pali. You get it? What? If you're able to see everything is divine, we are hypothetically saying this. If you can see everything is divine, everything is so pure, right? And everything is so majestic, your mind is, wherever you look at it, it's so happy, right? And the mind is happy, a feeling of the joy every moment, right? Okay, so there, running away from one object to another stops, because the mind is happy wherever it is. Okay, the next question, whether or not this is possible. This is the next question, whether or not this is possible. Okay, for this matter, then we have to go back to Buddha nature. What is the true nature of your mind? The true nature of mind is that this mind has if the obstructions, obstacles, obscurations, if the mental defilements are not there, how will your mind behave? If the mental defilements are not there, how will your mind behave? So for the time being, how our mind behaves and Buddha's mind behaves is very different, right? Our mind, somebody says you are very nice, you are very happy. Somebody says you are such a hopeless person, right? Why are you going to Tibetas every Sunday? Wasting your time. This is the only holiday that you have, and you feel so demoralized. You are true, right? This is how our mind behaves. We are so vulnerable. We are so vulnerable. Whereas the Buddha's mind will not behave like this. It will behave very differently. No matter whatever, oh, you're a stupid guy, oh, you're wonderful, you're a wonderful person, you're an enlightened one, you are the fake enlightenment, right? He will be forever happy. Okay, so now the point is, what makes the mind to behave very differently from the Buddha's mind? Is because obstacles are there, mental obscurations are there, mental stains are there. How would my mind behave if mental stains are got rid of, right? And the mental stains are two, afflictive and cognitive. Okay, so how will my mind behave? Okay, my mind, let's say, obscuration to cognition, cognitive obscuration. Cognitive obscuration means to cognize obscurations which stop you from cognizing all phenomena simultaneously. So when that is removed, then your mind will cognize all phenomena simultaneously, every atom of the universe, which means that your mind can literally flow towards every atom of the universe. It freely flows. There's no obstruction to the flow of this mind, right? Okay, tell me, through your own experience, tell me, this is so important, through your own experience, tell me that experientially, right, emotionally, experientially, how does it happen to you? Say, okay, tomorrow you have the interview, and the interviewers, they are very tough interviewers, right? What's your feeling? Right? Congestion is there, right? You have to present yourself, you have to prove yourself, and sitting there, you may start, what? Trembling a little bit, right? Nervousness is there, okay. And for sure, this person will never look at my good qualities, but person will look for my drawbacks, limitations. So, you see a wall between you and another person. Okay. Next day, Okay, next day again another interview, more challenging the interviewers. Like this, the next whole 2 months, right? You will, in most cases, you will go into depression if this lasts for like 2 months. Okay, tell me, that was when I was in class 10, and there was one boy, one of my classmates. That was like how many years ago? Almost 1985, 85 I think. How many years ago now? Huh? Oh, no calculation. People say 24. It's 33, right? Almost they say 33. So there, what happens was that look at what's going in this boy's mind. He must be age, I think, 17 or 18. He was maybe 1 or 2 years older than me. He was not doing good in academic studies. Then, one day, what he told me was that was close to the board exam, final class 10 board exam. He told me one thing. From the classroom, we could see, say, 2 or 3 laborers with the axe, the spade, in the sun going dharamsala. Means winter, a little cold, and then the outside is little sunshine, and the people were just walking freely across the field to work. And he looked at them and he said that, how free they are, how I wish that I'm as free as them. Then he said that, in this world I'm wondering if there is a pain which is greater than the pain that I'm going through now. This is what he said. Tell me, the feeling of congestion that he's feeling, that he's going through, what degree of congestion that he's going through at that point? Tell me, what? Great degree of congestion that he's feeling, right? Okay, so there the mind is congested. When the congestion is felt, the feeling of the corrosion, feeling of the pain, feeling of the unbearability, vulnerability is so acute, right? Okay, now, say today exam finishes, let's say, today the exam finishes, and then it so happens that whatever he learned the earlier night, everything came there, right? And and the exam finished, no more the preparation, and then going home. Okay, what do you think would be his feeling then, at that point? Huh? Incredible relief, right? Mind relaxes, the mind expands, congestion stops. What is congestion stops? What do you mean by stopping the congestion? The mind flows. As the mind flows, the ease is felt. You getting it? As the mind flows, what is the experience? Ease. The feeling is the ease. Okay. So if the mind flows to say 10 feet, ease is 10 units. If the mind flows to infinity, the ease is infinity. Right? So the true nature of mind, each one of our mind, what is the degree of in the true sense, what is the degree, the potential of us to experience the ease? What? Infinite ease. This is the potential that we have. Had it been the case that the cognitive obscurations, affective obscurations, they're going to drop and see how mind behaves in its true form, it freely flows at the infinity, right? So one experiences infinite happiness. With this infinite happiness, right, wherever you look at, it's so pleasant, so nice. Wherever you look at, it's so pleasant, so nice. 360 degrees. There's nothing which will make you feel unhappy. Right? So this happiness, 24/7, 360 degrees, is the potential that we have. And this is not what is taught in the Pali Sutra. You're getting it? Sutra meant for the personal liberation. It's not taught there. Okay. So now the question is how to activate this. How to activate this. This is the point. So with this, the point is that even if the object is there, which could otherwise stir your mind with excitement, will not excite you anymore. Excite means that when I see this, mind is uplifted. When I see others, mind is down. So therefore, this is known as excitement. Whereas now you look at anywhere, every atom in the universe, this is so pleasant to look at. You're forever happy. There's nothing which makes you up and down. Your mind is always a very high state of the freshness, right? This is something so precious. So when will that happen? When will that happen is when the mind goes back to its natural form, the true form, when the gold is not mixed with the soil. When will the gold start to shine, glow? When the soil is got rid of. When you remove the soil, then the gold will start to shine. When it's mixed with the soil, although gold is there, same gold is there, but it doesn't shine. Likewise, our mind, the true nature of which is something which pervades to every atom of the universe with tremendous, infinite ease. Yet, when mixed with the soil of the metal dirts, it doesn't display these qualities. Okay, now how to let the mind experience its true form? This is the next point. You're getting it? So there are again several methods. One is as taught by the Kagyu tradition from the great saint Saraha, the great saint Tilopa, great saint Naropa. Observing the mind, seeing the nature of the mind and retaining this experience, then like say the turbulent subsides. Water, very turbulent, dirty water, if you want to see the true nature of this water, don't stir it, still it, and the dirts, it may take a little time. The dirts will slowly settle down. As the dirts settle down, the true nature of the water becomes more and more prominent. This is the Mahamudra tradition. Amazingly beautiful practice. One. Then the next one is retain the experience of not the mind, but awareness itself. Just retain awareness, the mere awareness, not awareness of awareness, but just retain the experience of the mere awareness. So everything that you see, they are just the display of this awareness. So when you retain this experience of the mere awareness, right? Retain this experience, then everything, all phenomena, you will see that this is nothing but the play of your own mind, right? And then it's as though like every atom is in your own hands. Number two. Number three, it is through deliberately, forcefully stopping the gross minds. Because the gross minds are the mixture of the true nature of the mind and the mental dirts, the two. Just cut the gross ones deliberately and will ultimately go into the subtle mind, the true nature of the mind. So that is through the practice of the chakras, practice of the drops, the channels, the chakras, and so forth. Okay, so these methods to tackle the mind in order to experience this infinite bliss and infinite the awareness. These are something which are not taught in to the public by the Buddha. So therefore, but the Buddha taught Mahaprakasha practice that, and he became the heir. He became such an enlightened Arahat but he did not learn these methods. So therefore, it says of the same 51, stanza 51, and who would consider unacceptable some speech, the depths of which even Mahakashyap and the like could not fathom, simply because you cannot understand it, right? This is so precious. Okay, as I said, don't keep this in mind, right? Keep this in mind. Which is a better thing? For you to always stay at home, or go out, mix with the crowd, right? And that particularly if you are the rugby football player, right? Which is better? Always stay home, watch the television, rugby football, how they play, or you go out and mix with the crowd, and particularly in the metro, big crowd, right? And you fight. So which is a better exercise for you? Yeah, go out, right? Go out. But you are a rugby player, but you have the arm fracture. Which is better? Stay home or go there in the metro? I'm a rugby player. You go, and then what happens? It becomes worse. So practically, these are the theories, amazing theories from step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Amazing steps. But as the steps go from 0 through to 100, steps become more and more enticing, appealing, amazingly appealing. And then I say this, if I teach this all the time, these methods all the time, I'll gather enormous amount of followers, but nobody's going to be benefited. Maybe 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of, if not 1 million, right? Only, say maybe 10 out of 1 million will be benefited. Otherwise, majority will have just wow and finish. The word wow will be with us. Now, the practically speaking, we have to go from this step 1, 2, 3. This is the laboratory. In the laboratory, the practical, we have to go from there. We have to learn all these things. And then be prepared. Never underestimate yourself. Okay, these are very high level things. No, know this. Know this. Practically, you start from, if you have a fracture, you stay home. You stay home, try to heal it. Once you're healed, then you go out. Then you learn how to fight with other people. How to stand yourself in the midst of the crowd, right? So this is a great exercise. You're getting it. This is so important. So the point is, as we go from 0 to the 100, the steps are wonderful steps. As you go higher and higher, the teachings are going to be more and more enticing. Yet, practically, more and more difficult, right? And more likely that we will not get anything. But it is not that you will not get anything. Start from the beginning, right? In this life, we never know. But generally speaking, I cannot say that no one here is eligible for that teaching. No one is here is eligible to practice that thing. I cannot say this. But what I would say is that out of 1 million people, at the most 10 are ready for this. The remaining go towards the keep yourself at home and let your fracture be healed. Right? 99.9% of the people should go for this. This is the safest way. This is the point. But we have to know this, because later on, if you are consistent with this practice, later on, maybe who knows, next life, or after 5 lifetimes, or after 10 lifetimes, you will be qualified in that category, because you are already prepared. Because you already proceeded through the earlier practices in your former lives, starting from Narendra Master's course. Right? This is so important. Otherwise, oftentimes, people live in the world of illusion. Right? Wow, this amazing teaching, right? Amazing teaching. That's very true, right? The trueness of the mind. If the cognitive vascularization is not there, it can flow so freely. This 100% ease, infinite ease. Right? Why not we tackle it directly rather than impermanence, running away from the objects and so forth? Okay, so now a point is to summarize what I said is that, say the three ethics for the Pratimoksha ethics, Pratimoksha vows, Bodhisattva vows, Tantric vows. Okay, say the Pratimoksha vow is primarily designed to run away from the objects. Pratimoksha vow is primarily designed, not 100%, primarily designed to run away from the objects. Meanwhile, heal yourself. Bodhisattva vows, they're designed primarily to face the object head on, right? Face the object head on and see how much you win and sometimes how much the object wins. But courageously facing the object, right? Number 2. Number 3, right? Number 3, Tantric vows. It is related to, say, changing the whole perception from within. Changing the whole perception from within. Not just change the perception, discover the reality in its subtlest form. Discover the true reality. True reality, there are two things. Empty of objective existence is one. Empty of objective existence is one thing. And then say, even within the conventional truth, say we are defiled. This is also conventional truth. And the true nature of the mind is not defiled. This is also conventional truth. Right? So to discover the subtler reality, the subtler nature of us, that the true nature of mind is not defiled by the metal stains. So this has the 100% ease, right? And 100% knowledge. The omnipresent, omniscience, and omnipotent, right? So this true nature, the true nature. Okay, so they are tackling the object, tackling the subject from 0 through to 100. We are moving from there's a paradigm shift happening, from moving from tackling the object, then tackling the subject. So this is what is happening, right? And as you go from 0 to 100, the further away you go from the 0, more difficult the path. More difficult, right? Yet more effective. If you're able to do that, more effective. But how many can do? It depends on person's preparation, right? This is so important. Okay. So with this, with the Pratimoksha vows, the person has to run away from the objects as much as possible. Right? If you don't run away, then you are breaching the vows. Whereas for the Bodhisattva vow, the person has to face the object. Face the object, and if you think of running away, you are breaching the vow. Then for the Tantric, your job is to discover this true nature inside and try to see the world now in that nature. Right? In that nature. So if you run away from this abiding the experience of the true nature of your mind, the more you run away from this, you're breaching the vow. You're getting it? Okay. So there, the Mahakashyap, what he has learned, his training is mainly on the. Okay, I cannot say Mahakashyap because the Bodhisattva Shantideva mentioned it. I would be daring to just following shield Bodhisattva in front of me. Right? Otherwise, if somebody is to tell me that, okay, what about Mahaprakasha, I cannot say anything. Very likely he is a Buddha. Deliberately he came in the form of an Arahat. Right? How can somebody without such a high qualification of the Buddhahood can possibly be the heir of the Buddha. So therefore, if I'm to make my own presentation, I will not cite him as an example. I would say that somebody who's an Arhat, fails to see the followed his or her practice and training is mainly designed on the basis of the first vow, the vow to run away from the objects. Right? Then for the Bodhisattvas, it is the second, head-on, facing the challenge. And then the fourth tantra, to view the world, to view the present world in the light of the true nature of your own mind. Right? Which is of the perfect bliss. Every atom of the universe, you see them in the light of the perfect bliss. So there's nothing in this universe which excites, which triggers bliss in you. Everything triggers bliss and everything. And this bliss seen in the light of empty of objective existence. So the union of bliss and emptiness. Right? So this is part which seems to be, which is nicest, which is most appealing. The third one, wow, you don't have to do anything. Just see everything in the light of the true nature of my own mind. The union of bliss and emptiness, amazing. But if you live like this, without the preparation, without the preliminary practices, then we are living in the world of illusion. Right? Live in the world of illusion. So therefore, just yesterday, I'm not going to mention the name. Last night, in fact, somebody came to see me from faraway place, and then talking about emptiness, about emptiness of mind, and so forth. So the person attended one or two lectures, one or two Buddhist retreats from faraway place. The person came, and this morning left. Then talking about all these things. Then I said that, yes, there are so many brilliant teachings, right? So many brilliant teachings, and but the safest thing is go for Madhyamika. And the person said, Ayo. What is Ayo? Means, how tiring, right? Oh, it's so long, Madhyamika, right? Then I said that, okay, if you don't go for this, then Hayo will be infinite, right? If you go for this, Hayo will be for 1 or 2 years. One or 2 years, choose between the two things, 1 or 2 years, or infinity of the Hayos. Right? If you want to go for Hayos, 1 or 2 years, Hayo is very difficult, infinite Hayo is just impossible for you to bear it. So wiser, go for the less evil. If you see the Hayo is evil, go for the less evil. 1 2 year Hayo is better than infinite Hayo. Right? Finally, once you get this is very stable. Once you get this, Madhyamika Avatar is very stable, you have it, and then on that basis, and then of course, the added to this is the chapter 1's, the compassion element. Add these two things, then you can practice anything later on. If you really experience bodhicitta, if you really experience emptiness, that too as taught by Acharya Chandrakirti, if you really get it, how you are able to distinguish the nuances of the Prasangika's presentation from Svatantric Madhyamika's presentation, Chittamatra presentation, and the other lower schools presentation, you are able to separate the nuances, it becomes so clear, and to the extent that these experiences, a deeper sense of goosebumps coming in your body, right? When you have these indications, very stable experiences coming to you, then you can go from, your perhaps, of course, there are other factors required. You can then go for other practice, any practices is fine. Tantric practice, personal practice, anything's fine. Right? Okay. Tea break. We'll come back at the quarter to 1.